Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
We return to the Men's Room with Miles and Thrill. 99.9 KISW.
Men's Room Original Ale is back there. We brought the OG back. Very first beer we ever brewed with the Legion Brewing Company.
That is correct.
And it's only available on a small batch basis at the current time. Locations were picked, by the way. They were selected because they sold the most men's room red and helped raise the most money for the Fisher House. So if you're looking for the beer, it is tasty and delicious.
Yes, it is.
You go down, it'll get a little. It'll give you a little buzz. Head to KISW.com.
Depends how much you drink.
And see where the location is near you. I know that they said that they were making a second batch because the first batch did so well.
Yes.
So hopefully if they sold out, it'll be restocked here shortly.
Didn't you have some over the weekend?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't.
Every weekend. Every weekend. At least get one or two.
Right.
Why not? All right, as I ran a question 206-421-RON. Oh, God, I hit the wrong button. Look out, man.
Hey, you're not too far off.
I was so excited about the damn victory there that I totally forgot. My bad. Yeah, ran a question.
Random.
Third time's a charm. Hello, Jess. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Hola.
There you go. Jess, what the hell was wrong with your phone earlier?
Hey, I thought you guys hung up on me, okay? So thanks for having me back on. Third time's a charm.
Okay. We didn't really have you back on because you never got on the first two times you tried. But welcome to the show.
All right.
But I might have got off. What? Nothing?
All right, Jess, let's go with this one. What did you or do you collect? What did you or do you currently collect? Everybody's got something.
I collect lighthouse paraphernalia, so like little figurines. I'm on a lighthouse tour. I've been to some different lighthouses.
Wait.
Throughout the.
Did you say
coast.
Lighthouse or White House?
No,
Lighthouse.
Back in the day when we didn't have GPS and all you could navigate by was.
Yes, I know what a lighthouse is. I wasn't sure which one you said.
Thanks, Jess.
So how long have you been into the lighthouse stuff?
Oh, gosh. Since I was a kid, I mean, I'm 36 now. I would say I've been really passionate about the light keepers and just the architecture and stuff for as long as I can remember.
Okay, Jess, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, and I mean this honestly. So my in-laws are not into lighthouses, okay?
Why is that?
But apparently, no, they have nothing against. I mean, it's like you and me. It's just, you know what they are. Yeah, they weren't like, F lighthouses. But something happened 20 or 25 years ago where, like, they bought something or had a pillow with a lighthouse on it or something like this, okay? So every anniversary and every Christmas, apparently a bunch of their friends who they don't have the heart to tell they're not into lighthouses keep buying them lighthouse stuff. So when you go to their house, there's like a room full of all this lighthouse crap. So when I finally asked my father-in-law, like, what's up with the lighthouses, man? He's like, God damn it. I don't know what happened. Everybody thinks we're into them. And every year, all anyone gives us are freaking lighthouse everything. So I know they don't want them. But anyway, I will check to see if they'd be willing to part with them, and we can get that stuff to you.
Jess, have you been to the lighthouse?
No way. Oh, my.
Yeah.
No, Thrill, seriously. Oh, my God. That would make my entire everything, like, please. Mike knows how to get a hold of me. Like, please, if they don't want.
If I get my hands on it.
Lighthouses, I'll take them.
If I get my hands on it, I'll put out the APB. You can give me the info. But honestly, they don't want it. But every year they get more of this crap. They just don't have the heart to tell their friends after 2 decades, like, we don't want this.
Jess, have you been to the lighthouse at Discovery Park? Jessica, have you been to the lighthouse at Discovery Park?
I'm sorry, what's that?
I said, have you been to the lighthouse at Discovery Park?
I have, and I've been to, Browns Point, There's a couple other lighthouses that I saw when I went over when I was visiting Pennsylvania, and some time ago I called in and talked with you guys because you guys talk about, Virginia, West Virginia, and so forth, and I went to Harper's Ferry, and during that time that I spent visiting the East Side, I was able to see a couple of lighthouses, but I really don't remember what the names were, where I was even at. It was just kind of friends.
Would you?
No, there's a ton of them too, especially up in like the Northeast and stuff. And there's some.
So, Maine, when you go to New England, it's insane.
Maine's like the whiskey. If you go from Boston north, it's like the whiskey trail of lighthouses.
Let me answer this, Jess. Based on, I don't know a ton about it, other than it's a fairly solitary job. If this were back in the day, is that a gig you would want? Like, would you want to be a lighthouse keeper?
Oh my goodness! I am so excited that you asked that question because I'll keep it short, I promise. But there's a Lightkeepers Union, and it still exists. It's still a thing, even though that most lighthouses now run off of GPS and Fresnel lenses are no longer really required or used. It's more or less for, I guess, museum purposes, but you can still be a lightkeeper, but you have to pay as far as my understanding in Washington State, you need to pay your dues up front to be a lightkeeper, and there's a waiting list, and to pay the dues up front, I want to say it was, when I was looking into it, and this is pre-COVID, I want to say it was like $3,500 or so that you pay up front. Yeah, but the cool thing is you get to live in that lighthouse, but
how many stairs on average? Because your living quarters and everything are upstairs, right? So if I go and get groceries, I bet you about it now. Yeah. I can't imagine going up these goddamn spiral staircases.
That would be crazy to actually live in one.
It's not necessarily true that you have to live upstairs. So, for instance, Westport, up there in Grays Harbor, that was the first lighthouse that I ever got to walk the spiral, like you were saying, the spiral staircase. Now, they have kind of like what you might think of as like a mother-in-law kind of deal. So that but you still are required to do the maintenance and volunteer.
Jess, you can also, there's a few lighthouses out there that are done through Airbnb where you can actually spend the night in a lighthouse without spending $3,500.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Now, Jess, let me ask you one last question. You and I were sitting at a bar. We don't know each other, but in the course of us sitting there, you find out that I am a lighthouse keeper. Are you like a lighthouse keeper group?
Are you going to have sex with him?
Well, for one, he's married, and secondly,
say he's not.
No. I mean, sex aside, no, I would totally want to at least, can I just come over and do your dishes and cook for you? Just to hang out in your lighthouse?
Right, sure.
No. If I'm the lighthouse keeper, we're having sex.
No, you know what, man? So I would
I'm staying there for a reason.
I live in this lighthouse. I don't have many chances.
I would get more play being a lighthouse keeper than I do playing bass. That's all I wanted to establish. That's how goddamn pathetic it is to play bass. I could play bass in a band. You could be this massive band, but if I go, man, there's a lighthouse keeper and he's walking off with 8 chicks.
Yeah. Raise my ass. What did you or do you collect? Here we go. Here's follow up. The pair of Michael Jordan's stanky used boxers that were on the auction block over the weekend. They were initially the opening bid, I believe, $750. Someone snapped them up for $2,784.
And these are game worn, right?
They were dry cleaned. They did come with a dry cleaning tag. According to the listing, they showed evidence of definite use. The drawers were provided by Jordan's friend and bodyguard, John Michael Wozniak. He appeared, I guess, in the Last Dance documentary.
Oh, yeah.
Also provided some suits, coats, dress shirts, and ties for the auction as well. But the underwear themselves, $2,784, almost enough for Jess to get her lighthouse license.
I just don't know that I want somebody's underwear.
No, not an athlete's.
Right, there's a lot of cool memorabilia, but I don't know. That just seems.
You wouldn't hang that up in your man cave, get them framed?
That's what I'm saying. That's weird.
Right.
But if it's like,
what if you had it in the bathroom?
What do you mean?
The picture was in the bathroom. You took it, you framed them, and then you put the underwear.
I put it in my man cave. If they're like, is that someone's underwear? It's Michael Jordan's underwear.
Sure,
and then all of a sudden people go, ooh, ah. And it looks just like our underwear. You know what I'd want to buy that's Michael Jordan? His Visine. Because I'd say this stuff does not work. It does not work in his eyes.
Oh, you can't get rid of that yellow. It says, gets the red out. Not gets the yellow out.
Yeah,
Did you see the picture of him over this weekend?
No. In Wisconsin?
He's like at the Ryder Cup. He's got like a cigar and a coffee, and people are like, look at this, 8 a.m. He's already smoking. And the cigar is already like almost done.
Yeah, it looks like liquor to me. I mean, he's with the picture with Ron Rashad.
That's what somebody, like all the comments are like, that's not coffee, that's not coffee.
He's not drinking coffee. Come on,
tequila.
man.
Yeah, that's tequila.
Hello, Kyle. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola. Kyle, welcome to the program. Random question. All right, let's see here. What do we got for you?
Can we talk more about lighthouses?
Oh, yeah. It was just, we covered it all.
Okay.
What is the dumbest or worst decision that you made while under the influence?
Ew.
Oh, boy. That I remember?
That you remember. Or a lot of times it's what you heard about later.
It was jumping off of a log along a river, and I didn't hurt myself badly, but I flopped really badly, and that was enough. Yeah. That was a bad one. Off the top of my head, that was a bad one.
Okay, all right.
That's not the worst thing you could do.
I'm not a jumper. Heights and me are not friends.
Didn't you used to jump off of bridges into a river when you were growing up in West Virginia?
Yeah, I'm good with that. I can go in the water.
But wait, how high? Well, I assume you're jumping into the water.
I have no problem jumping into
Didn't
water.
you say it was like, what, almost 60
Jumped
feet?
off cliffs in French Quebec and Jamaica. I have no problem.
So what's this no jumping stuff?
Right, you just said
with my
me
feet.
and jumping and heights aren't friends, but the bridge, sure.
For some reason,
Cliff jumping in Jamaica.
Me and water are fine. I can absolutely do
Well,
that.
what else are you going to jump onto? Of course you're going to jump in the
off
water.
of a deck, you know what I mean? In someone's backyard because the cops are on the way.
I'll
just walk out the front door and go, hell with it, man. Just give me for my underage drinking and I'll be on my way.
Oh, I've done that.
What, jump off the balcony?
I will.
Yeah.
In times of trouble, yes.
Yeah. But it's scary. You're underage, cops at the door.
That's what I'm saying.
Get the hell out of there.
Yeah. Reason asked, what's the dumbest or worst decision that you made while under the influence? A Florida woman who had to be pulled from the cab of a fire engine that she tried to steal denied being under the influence of the usual street potions, but said she had taken, quote, the elixir of life.
Oh, yeah.
Before trying to steal the emergency vehicle. Responding to a call about a woman acting erratically on the beach in St. Augustine Beach, cops and fire rescue workers late last month discovered the 39-year-old woman in distress. She actually only lives a couple blocks from the beach. She did need and said she needed CPR and other treatment while being escorted to an ambulance. She was running back and forth as well. Due to no crime actually being committed at this point, I had no reason to chase her, according to the officer. But as police and firemen began entering their vehicles to depart the scene, someone yelled, "She's stealing the truck." She had opened one of the doors of an unsecured fire engine and got in the driver's seat. Witnesses told police that I thought she was fixing to drive off.
Fixing to drive off.
After reportedly struggling with cops who tried to handcuff her, she offered an apology, according to a police report. "I'm sorry for trying to take the truck. I lost my marbles." When asked, she said she was under the influence of anything. She said she was not, but had taken the elixir of life.
Random.
Is that what they call meth now? Hello, Austin. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
Austin, welcome to the program. And a random question. Okay, what do we got here? How about this one? Austin, excuse me. I need my loogie jug. What were you surprised to wake up to?
Oh, gosh, I gotta think about that. All right.
What were you surprised to wake up to?
Sometimes I'm just surprised to wake up in my own home.
That has happened, yeah. No, I remember one time, I was really surprised. I was pretty young. I was probably in my early teens. And, yeah, I was 12, 13 years old maybe. And my parents moved us to Africa, actually. And so I fell asleep on the plane, and I woke up, and we were in a car in the middle of the city, and it was just in the middle of Africa, and I had no idea where I was or what was going on.
Well, hell, I wish I could do that now as a human being. Just sleep the whole way through a plane trip and all that.
Yeah, I mean, how long is this plane trip, man?
The plane trip was it was multiple plane trips over a day and a half, but I was by the time we got out of the United States, I was so tired and so jet lagged already that I was just constantly dozing off, and then I would wake up and my mom would like give me a sip of ginger beer or water or something, and then I would pass back out again.
Where did you live in Africa?
We lived in Kenya, in Kitale, Kenya. It was like 8 hours north of the capital, Nairobi.
And how long did you live there?
We lived there for about 9 months. About 9 months, yeah.
So you went to school and all that stuff?
We tried school. It did not go well.
Okay. As far as what, your ability to be able to pick up any of the content?
No, actually, I picked up on the language pretty quickly. The teachers were beating us.
They were beating you.
Wow.
Yeah, so my parents weren't really cool with that. And I'm not scarred or anything. They smacked us with rulers a couple of times.
My teachers did that.
That's what I'm saying. They beat the living hell out of us.
Yeah, I'm sure they did worse than you guys, actually. But
I don't know about that, but I know that we got our asses beat.
Oh, you definitely got beaten with rulers.
If you flick the back of the back of the head of somebody in my generation, they'd call the cops on the teacher.
Oh man, the male teachers would wear these big, gaudy, Greek looking rings, like the big, like the one the Super Bowl championship, the biggest jewelry you could find. And they come up and smack you on top of the head with the back of their hand with a ring. And you want to talk about pain. It was I just stung for it.
But they'd even say the first day of school, this is why I wear this ring.
Mm-hmm. They can smack you.
And they were clear up front, man. And if you didn't believe them, you didn't have to, but they'd tear your ass up.
Reason we asked, what were you surprised to wake up to? Earlier this month, a 37-year-old guy named Matt Williamson. He got arrested for breaking into a car in Pleasant Grove, Alabama, which is near Birmingham. He was released on bond the same day. Then less than 2 hours later, he breaks into another car and steals it. But they didn't catch him right away. Now, 5 days later, he broke into the concession stand at a big athletic complex and took a bunch of snacks. Now, that was last Wednesday. The next morning, police found him passed out on a pile of candy, chips, chicken fingers, and methamphetamine. So maybe that's why he passed out. He admitted to everything. They took him straight back to jail. He is facing multiple charges. But again, he woke up by police, passed out on a pile of candy, chips, chicken fingers, and methamphetamine.
Meth's the only one that doesn't really fit in there.
Somehow it does.
Yeah, I just assume if you're on meth, you're probably not that hungry. But maybe
that's why he probably fell asleep and was still chicken
instead of eating.
Yeah, that's a good point. Right, because he's actually eating and sleeping.
Yes, he's at the tail end of his trip.
More of the random question on the way. 206-421-ROCK.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Kickstart summer with Memorial Day values at Lowe's. Choose 4 or more eligible Samsung appliances to complete your dream kitchen and laundry room. Plus, get 10% back via MasterCard gift card rebate. Also, save now on the latest Samsung appliances, like the bespoke refrigerator with panels in a variety of colors to mix and match. It's an easy way to create your own unique look. Memorial Day values start now at Lowe's. Shop in-store or online today. Offer ends June 13th. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance, and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
99.9 KISW. The men's room is in progress.
Categories today on Your Guess is as Good as Mine. The 10 best Kiss songs of all times and the 10 best states to go if you enjoy fishing. Your Guess is as Good as Mine coming up after emails on a random question. 206-421-ROCK.
Random.
Hello, Chris. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola.
All right, Chris, welcome to the program. And a random question.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're almost close to October. Halloween is a big holiday for a lot of people out there. A lot of people go to parties, man, or if they have kids, they're doing that thing. Last year we really didn't have a Halloween, but I guess just a basic question. Are you a fan of Halloween? Do you celebrate this holiday? You do? What do you do?
What do I celebrate? No, but I am a huge fan of the holiday.
Okay, as far as like horror movies are concerned, the whole thing.
Sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've got a nephew that does special effects, inspired by my He-Man toys and crap growing up. But, yeah, Halloween is probably one of the, out of all the mainstream holidays we have now that are all based on, consumption and selling and everything of that, Halloween's wicked cool because it's wicked.
How old are you the last time you got dressed up for Halloween?
Well, I'm 45. Yeah, I've not done any costume parties or anything like that. So
okay, that's
10, 11. 10, 11.
That's about right.
Even if it was just taking the kids to a pumpkin patch. Steve, I know how much you love doing that. When you go,
I effing hate
and you
the
get the
pumpkin
galoshes,
patch.
and you go and you get the pumpkins and the gourds and all that stuff.
I mean, it's one of those, the kids are very excited. The kids are very happy. And as a parent, there's something about that matters to you, but it matters to you for about 5 minutes out of the 3-hour experience is the problem. And it's not even like 5 minutes in a row. It's like 2 minutes here, 1 minute there, 30 seconds, because they find apple cider. I'm just not a fan of standing out in the mud to get all these goddamn pumpkins from, goddamn Safeway has these things out front.
I used to like carving pumpkins for the kids. I think more
that's cool. That's fun.
More because I love pumpkin seeds, baked pumpkin seeds.
Sure.
One of my favorite snacks, so I'm into that. I did when I was back in my single days, there was a pumpkin patch that did a haunted hayride.
Yeah.
That was always a great place to go on a date. It was always a fun night. You go in there a little buzzed up.
Of course.
Just get back on the back of a tractor or whatever, and they pull you around, and someone jumps out and goes, ah, and you go, eh.
Now, I was thinking about taking the kids to one of those this year, right? They're old enough. My daughter would love it, but I realized in the grand scheme of things, and this is an honest-to-God consideration, there's fight or flight. My son does not believe in flight. So I'm just like... Dude, we can't go someplace where dude's going to jump out and you punch him in the face. While I respect how you choose to handle your personal space, it's all in good fun, bro. He needs to understand that before I take him.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not a big scary movie person, but some of those haunts and everything are awesome.
They're fun, man.
Yeah.
And
you can go at nighttime, and it's like a whole different scene than just picking pumpkins with kids.
Yeah, dude, look, I mean... I do enjoy Halloween for the kids' perspective. They're already starting to figure out what they want for their costumes. And granted, I tuned them out. They brought it up this week, and it's like, football's on, homie. I'm not, your mouth's moving.
Look.
But I'm not listening. But I get excited about that. It matters to them so much. And then they have that day in school where all the kids show up in costume. And I mean, this is the biggest day in the world to them, man.
When I was in Hagerstown, Maryland, it was probably 93, 94. They had one of the biggest haunted houses in the entire tri-state area.
Yeah, they absolutely did. Yeah.
At this place. And we would broadcast live there every night for a couple hours. So you get off your shift, and then you go to the haunted house, and you go in, here we are at the Williamsport haunted house, blah, 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 blah. This is 93. Part of the deal was, there was a guy in the haunted house, and he had raw meat. He had liver... And you know what I mean? Just raw meat. And when you come up, he'd rub it in your face.
What?
And I'm thinking now, what a horrific idea this was. This is a horrible idea.
That's awful.
There were a couple guys who got punched, just like your son would do. I mean, we saw it. I mean, we were there every single night for this thing. It was 3 weeks long. I mean, there wasn't a single resident of that area that did not go to that haunted house at least one night and do the whole thing. The reason we asked, are you a fan of Halloween? An 11-year-old kid in Ohio, he went to a haunted house near Cleveland with his mom last weekend, and one of the actors stabbed him in the foot with a knife.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow. Thankfully, it wasn't too serious. The kid and his mom were going through the haunted house when a 22-year-old actor tried to scare them by scraping a real Bowie knife across the ground. Then he started stabbing the knife into the ground near the kid's feet. Unfortunately, he got a little too close. He ended up stabbing the knife through the kid's croc and cut through his toe. But it only nicked him, fortunately. They bandaged him up. And here's how much this kid loves Halloween.
Right.
He insisted on finishing the haunted house.
My man.
He was not going to go until he finished the haunted house. The actor admitted using a real knife and said that was a horrible idea. The police department said it was an accident, and the kid's mom did not want to press charges, and neither did the kid.
All right, at least it ended that way.
Yeah, so it was handled civilly.
How bad do you think that guy felt?
Yeah, I guess not pressing charges. I don't know. You stab me in the foot, I'm getting some money
with a hunting knife.
Well, sure.
I mean, that's kind of the security in going to a haunted thing like that.
Nothing really bad will happen.
Nothing really supposed to happen.
Well, surprise.
Yeah.
Surprise. This is real scary. You might get set. It's funny. As you're telling that story, Miles, comment came in. Did you see that an actor at a haunted house brought a real knife and stabbed a family? Not the whole family, just the kid.
Just one kid in the foot.
Just that kid. He's got 2 feet. Quit your bitching. Hello, Austin. Welcome to the men's room.
What's going on, guys? This man Ted's suing people over haunted house.
Yeah, the dude stabbed me.
Yeah.
Golly, he nicked him.
He did nick him. Yeah, it wasn't the worst thing in the world. But he admitted it.
Ted's unhappy unless he gets a Scooby-Doo Band-Aid.
There you go.
Austin, let's go with this one since we're on the same topic. What would you say is the scariest movie that you've ever seen?
Ooh.
Scariest movie? See, that's hard, man. I don't really get scared by... All right. Actually, no. I think, all right, tell me if this counts. So all these like world-ending movies and stuff like that.
Sure.
After this coronavirus and all that stuff comes out, man, these viral zombie movies and everything got me questioning, man. That's the only thing that scares me.
Well, you know, those movies, they blew up on, on demand.
Yeah,
when Corona first, like, everybody's like, dude, I'm watching 28 Days, 28 Days Later, World War Z.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a movie. What's that movie? I know it's really old. They were using like old, like basically like Vietnam War helicopters. I think Morgan Freeman's in it. It's like
Outbreak.
It's about like an outbreak or something like that.
It's either Contagion or Outbreak. They all came out around the same time.
Yeah, and it's eerily similar to the coronavirus. Oh man,
well, that's a problem. Yeah, because coronavirus is real. You know what I mean? Like,
but it's easy to do. Outbreaks happen the same way. I mean, like, this is not new tech. You know, for whatever it is people are worried about. Like, bro, there's a reason why these movies seem to parallel what's going on because that's how outbreaks happen. Yeah, they do research.
Let me ask you this: if Outbreak happens and, the Purge happens, you think they're surviving?
Oh, hell no. I'm sure I'm one of those statistics that goes down, man. Look, I'm going to fight to stay alive, but in the end, look, the next time you see me, I'm probably chasing you down the street with a bloodlust, bro.
Are you helping people, or are you every man for himself?
You know what? I would like to say, and look, you know how this goes. I would love to say, hey, man, I'm here to help people. When you tell me there are zombies that can sprint, like, hey, you're on your own, homie.
Now, if it's like The Walking Dead, we're good. We're good.
If they're slow, we're good.
If there's a chance...
if it's like I Am Legend, but I don't know, man.
See, my thing is, if there's a chance it could realistically happen, or in my mind, I find it believable, then it's scary. So, The Exorcist. Now, that scared the hell out of everybody, not just me. Jaws scared the hell out of me growing up.
People wouldn't get... You wouldn't know how to get in your own bathtub.
Not necessarily in the horror genre, so to speak. The Exorcist, maybe so. The Omen didn't really scare me that much.
The Omen was more cerebral. There's nothing scary about it.
But I did think that, like, Poltergeist had some pretty weird, scary moments in it, although it wasn't the worst thing in the world. Children of the Corn, the adaptation of that movie, the original, to me, with Malachi and all that, I thought that was a decently scary movie.
But to me, like a scary movie, there's movies where you'll definitely jump, and I think that's easy.
Like Deliverance is a scary movie.
I think that's terrifying. I think movies that are still on your mind weeks after you saw it, like to me, that's a scary movie, right? So Friday the 13th, they were fun. I mean, whatever, but at no point did I sweat this guy. Freddy Krueger movies, they're fun. You would jump because they set you up to jump, but they're not scary. But like you said, The Exorcist, I'm like, this is troubling. Yeah. Jaws, not supposed to be a horror movie, but like I'm scared to get into a kiddie pool knowing goddamn well there's not a shark, and it had that effect. And then for me personally, it was Alien, but it was just based on my age. I was 10, and I had never seen anything like that in my life. And
I think sometimes those movies, too, just make settings spookier. There's nothing really spooky about a lake at night with trees.
No, there's really not.
No.
Until you introduce a serial killer who you can't see.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. And all of a sudden.
Man, that's every night on the Appalachian Trail. Mm-hmm. There's millions of murderers out there.
Always.
Just hanging out. I mean, so even if you hike that would be a scary situation just based on the people you run into. When I was a kid, I had this fascination with flying. It was just like this glamorous thing that I would never be a part of. My parents flew, but I'd never been in a plane. I used to collect little metal planes that were like little die-cast metal planes of Pan Am and TWA and all these different airlines and all that stuff. And there was a series of movies called Airport. I don't know if you remember these or not.
Dude,
But Airplane spoofed the movies, basically.
There was like Airport 74.
77.
Oh, is that when like the planes crash into it?
Dude.
Everything.
The plane
crashed into an ocean, and it's at the bottom of the ocean. That's the one I remember. But everybody's still alive, and the plane is at the bottom of the ocean.
But they showed the image that you see from the top. Yeah, I'm a kid. I remember my parents took me.
Right.
There's a scene, and look, I have seen bits and pieces of Airport 77 since then. And to say the special effects have come a long way is
it was still
a mess. But
I didn't want to get into a plane after that.
Because they show like the cockpit, and I want to say either the co-pilot or the main flight attendant is sucked out, which at the time was scary. But if you see it now, just the stunt and how they did it, it's so awful. But I remember that one because I'm in the theater. The plane crashes at the bottom of the ocean, right? It's like a double-decker plane.
Right.
And then people start turning on each other.
I knew how to use the life vest. I knew how to use all the things. You know what I mean? Because I paid so much attention because I was so into it. I'm like, if you're under the water, you know what I mean? Like, the life vest isn't going to help you at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, all these things. And
that's why their situation was bad.
And then I didn't want to fly. Like, you know, and then the glamour was gone. I mean, for like a couple of years, I'm like, there's no way. Not if we're flying over water. Then the next, the movie before that, like, they crashed into something else. So it didn't really matter.
Now, Mike, you're a big, like, horror movie buff, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I don't mind them. I just have not seen a lot. Somebody says Hereditary scared the living piss out of them.
Hereditary had some very disturbing imagery.
Okay.
To me, it wasn't scary. It was a psychological horror, so it wasn't the one for me. There's a lot of people that really, really enjoyed it, and it blew up to be one of the bigger horror movies. It was just, I'm not on that side of it.
Someone here says Pet Sematary. I don't know if they mean the new one or the... Now, I did not think the original one was scary per se. I understood what was going on. Like, the situation sucked, but it didn't scare me. But I do remember me being me, because I know everything, and I'm a cynic. So... There's a point in the movie early on where the little kid wanders out in the street, either to get his ball or whatever it is.
Yep.
And they show the truck coming. And they show the kid. And I remember saying to my buddy, dude, it's a kid. They never show kids. Oh, my God.
Bam. You forgot this was Stephen King.
Right. I was not anticipating. What else? Teeth. Have you seen the movie Teeth?
I have seen Teeth, and that is not a scary movie, but it... Is
that about the woman who has teeth in her vagina?
Correct.
Or something? Yeah,
yes.
I mean,
that's not a scary movie to you?
Not to me, but I mean, it was still a fun movie. Definitely watch it.
Ooh, and here's a good one.
I mean, I was going to ask you about a couple movies, but I feel like every scary movie I watch scares me.
Have you seen, and Ted, I recommend this. It bothers you in the time that you watch the movie. It's not something that's residual, I don't think. The Thing with Kurt Russell.
Oh, great flick.
That is a great movie, man.
The old school monster movies, Ted, I don't think would be too scary for you. They are just fun to watch, and it's got a vibe about it that I think you'd like.
All right.
It does. Okay. It does.
Reason we asked, what's the scariest movie you've ever seen? If you're a fan of horror movies, here's a great gig for you. This October, finance firm Finance Buzz is offering one lucky horror aficionado the opportunity to watch 13 very differently budgeted scary movies. They're trying to settle the debate whether bigger bucks bring bigger scares. So the bigger budget movies, are they scarier?
In other words, the Blair Witch Project was made with whatever you can find in your sofa cushions, but certain movies are made with $50 million budget.
Yeah. To determine how finances affect a film's capacity to generate dread, the selected horror hate rate analysis will review 13 films made with big, mid, or low budgets. From 2007's Paranormal Activity, found footage style horror flick made for $15,000, to A Quiet Place Part 2. A $60 million special effects extravaganza, they say. All the while, the would-be Judge Dredd will be equipped with a Fitbit to track your heart rate throughout your movie analysis. The chosen Fright fan will be required to watch all the films on the list between October the 9th and October the 18th, and will get $1,300 and a $50 gift card to fund the horror movie marathon. So there you go. You can make $1,300 just by watching. That's basically $100 a movie.
I will say that somebody, I think, suggested a good one, the original Evil Dead. Right? They made 2 follow-up movies that are kind of campy. The first one was not particularly campy. It was just effed up, man.
It was. I watched it for the first time because I'd only ever seen the remake, and then I finally got around to watching the original when it came out on one of the streaming services, and I watched it, and it's a ride. It is crazy.
And just look, there's 2 things I figured out from the average horror movie, assuming they are accurate. One, if there's something wrong with your friend because they have been possessed by an evil spirit, and all of you and the rest of your friends recognize that, don't stay in their company. Mm-hmm. That is Evil Dead and a lot of other movies. Like, you need to kill the mother effer. Sorry, you're gone. And then the other is, apparently, any monster or serial killer that is chasing you down, according to my friend, if you don't look at it, it's not going to attack you.
Right.
It sounds like every horror movie, like they're behind you, but they don't actually attack you until you turn around, look at it, and scream. So he said, listen, man, if I'm walking and Jason Voorhees is behind me, you can tell me he's behind me. He's like, I'm just not going to look at him. He'll never stab me.
I just watched Freaks last night, actually.
Freaks.
1932. It's a really old horror movie.
It's kind of that carnival thing.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's basically just showcasing these people at the circus.
It is up there. I have seen that movie.
It's pretty messed up, yeah.
Because there's no real special effects, you see. So the people in that movie that look messed up, it's because they're messed up.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, I remember seeing part of the Elephant Man movie. That was horrifying.
Yeah, as a kid, you're like, Jesus, Cage.
Yeah.
And sad. And sad, yes.
Yeah.
But also horrifying. Hello, Richard. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola, bitches!
Hola! Richard, welcome to the program. Random question.
Okay.
Let's go with this one. What was your first alcoholic drink, and how old were you when you had it?
Jesus, I was probably about, I want to say between 15 and 16, and it was at a Halloween party, and I was puking my guts out of the back of a hearse.
Do you remember what you were? Did you remember what you were drinking?
Probably beer. Yeah, it was a beer. It was a keg party back in the day.
Okay, all right. I remember when those happened. Yeah, it seems like it's been a long time since I've been to a good kegger. All right,
and you puked out of the back of a hearse. You said.
Hey, seriously, I gotta tell you something. Right now, me and the wife, we are living in a 25-foot motorhome. We're ready to go traveling here pretty quick.
Well, good for you.
But where are you going to travel to?
Well, we're going to take we've already been. I was born and raised here, and we're going to go around the Olympic Peninsula in our motorhome here.
That'll be cold and wet.
You know, I don't know if a lot of people recognize that, but that's the original voice of Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
The guy just called in.
Yeah, but they replaced him. Yeah. Raise my ass. Hey, what was your first alcoholic drink? Do you remember, Ted, how old you were? No, yeah.
Sorry, dude. That guy just gets me sometimes.
Oh, me and the wife.
What, you think you're talking to Mickey?
I don't know. And he sounds so excited.
He is. He's very genuine.
They're going to travel around the 101.
Man, for me it was probably same thing. Probably like a beer or something at a party where there was a keg and we thought we were being slick.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. Because it's probably like a family thing or somebody that coached me or something.
And you realize your family just does not care that you're getting drunk, but you're not hiding it as well as you think you are.
Yeah. I drew Barrymore at one time at a wedding when I was probably 11 years old. Just went around and
just drank everyone's empties.
Finished everybody's champagne. Kind of started a trend for me, as far as a life thing.
But see, champagne, that was one of those, like it's New Year's Eve, your parents, they're getting blasted with their friends, right? You're only there because they didn't want to get a babysitter, because babysitters wanted to party that night too, right? So they'd always pour you like a little splash of champagne, and those bubbles, you're doing God's work when you're young, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, when I was a real young kid, once in a while, you'd have like a sip of beer from like a family member or something.
I'm not sure I really enjoy it.
I don't think that counts. Well, that was kind of the joke. I can remember like my uncles being like, oh, yeah, sure, you want a sip? And then you're like, oh, God, this is gross.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was you wanted to like it because you were supposed to be
so much, man.
You know what I mean? But it was just okay. You'd much rather have a Coca-Cola.
I remember my father laughing out loud at me, and he's not a man who gives to a lot of emotion. He's not there to put you down or build you up or whatever. But I remember he was drinking a Budweiser. I'm like 6 or 7. He's watching football. And I'm like, can I have a sip? And I'm just bugging him. Finally, he's like, Jesus, dude, take a sip. I take a sip. Granted, it's Budweiser. I still have the exact same feeling about it. But I'm like, it's so gross. I will never drink beer. He looked at me and probably laughed for 15 minutes. And I did not understand why at the time. He's just like, you're not okay. All right, man.
I'll bet you $1.
Keep that spare, brother.
I'll bet you $1. Reese asked, what was your first alcoholic drink? Here's a scary story. A kindergarten student consumed hand sanitizer on her second day of school and wound up at Children's Hospital with an alarming 0.23 blood alcohol level in Moon County in Pennsylvania. CBS News in Pittsburgh reports the unidentified girl showed up for class at Moon Area's elementary school with her school supplies in place, including a bottle of hand cleaner. Hours later, she collapsed in the lunchroom. Her mother was notified there was a problem, and the child was rushed to the hospital. My daughter had consumed half of that bottle. She consumed 6 ounces of 70% alcohol, which is basically ethanol, which is 140 proof. According to the girl's mom, no one initially knew what was happening, including a medic. She was completely out of it. I tried to wake her. She opened her eyes briefly, and she looked at me, but it was almost as if she looked straight through me, according to the mom. Girl began to cry and laid back down, according to her mom, who also has 2 other children. I was very scared. It wasn't until the child regained consciousness the school realized she'd seemingly consumed her hand sanitizer. The girl recovered, but the mom worries about long-term prognosis. She wants other parents to be aware of what she experienced. Basically, she's suggesting that you don't drink hand sanitizer.
She's suggesting that.
That's
probably a good call. Okay, let's go on and take that advice.
Good stuff.
I'm going to go ahead and take that.
Yeah. One more?
Yeah, let's do one more. What the hell not? Hello, Chris. Welcome to the men's room.
Hola. All right, Chris, let's give you one more here.
By the way, Race with the Devil is easily the scariest movie ever.
I've never even heard of that. I'm going to Google it right now.
Guys are with their wives are camping at a lake, got the RV, and they look way across the lake, and they see a fire, and got binoculars out, and they look, and there's, some people dance around the fire naked, and next thing you know, this dude just hacks somebody up, and then realizes they're watching, and from there, they chase them across America, and they always pop up in the places they're not supposed to be.
Wow. It is a 1975 American action horror film directed by Jack Starrett.
I sure hope that doesn't happen to Richard and his wife when they go on one-on-one.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Death Race 2000 had its moments. It wasn't really scary. It was just
not scary, but it was awesome.
All right, let's go with this question. Who flashed or exposed themselves to you? Who flashed or exposed themselves to you?
Usually one of my sister's friends.
Oh, all right. How old were you when she made this decision?
I would probably say 8.
Oh,
8?
Yeah.
And how old was she?
All my sisters are like 10 years older than me.
All right. Okay. So at that point in time,
I got my third kid.
Were you happy, or was you almost like too young to even realize what's going on?
No, I know what's going on.
Yeah, I was going to say. Okay. On some level, even if you don't quite understand why. Like I said, the first time I saw a naked woman, not in person, but a penthouse centerfold, and my brother and his friend were like trying to gross me out.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember his buddy Jack Dennis, came running up to me, and he opened the penthouse to the centerfold. And I still remember what this chick looks like, but they're doing and I can't explain exactly what happened in my brain, but in that moment, I'm like, I really like naked women.
Honestly, the last 2 times is obviously this goes back to 2 or 3 years probably, but in a bar, it was Sunday, NFL ticket, and a guy, his wife, just got new breasts.
Yep.
And he said, "Hey man, do you want to see her breasts?" And I said, "No, I really don't want to see, because first of all, I just got a seat at the bar, and this is a hard place to get into, and I don't want to get kicked out of here."
Right.
And he's insistent that she shown other.
Why are they? It's always like I just bought these.
Right.
Yeah.
It's never the chick. It's always the dude.
And I was like, no, that's okay. Before I knew it, bang out. She's got her jersey up. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, you like the Packers?
How are they?
They actually looked like
just normal boobs.
Boobs.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's like, all right, you've got boobs. Reason we asked: motorist is facing multiple felony charges for allegedly exposing himself to a series of toll collectors working on a Florida expressway.
Oh.
Mark Phil, y'all. 42 was arrested Saturday, charged in connection with a 1-week exposure spree that began on August 31st and victimized workers at 3 separate toll plazas. He exposed himself 7 times while passing through the cash lanes of plazas, according to the report.
Wow.
He was showing his privates and touching his penis, and he was masturbating. He was identified by the individual toll collectors through a photo comparison, and his identity matched exactly. He was arrested at his residence and booked into the county jail on 6 felony exposure of sexual organ counts.
Come on, dummy.
And 1 misdemeanor count. Still to come, your guess is as good as mine. Our categories today, we got the top 10 best Kiss songs of all times and the top 10 best states to go fishing. You are listening to The Men's Room.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. As we continue to listen, learn, and grow, we are amplifying Black voices and perspectives in an effort to start a new COVID-19 vaccine conversation. We're sharing stories intended to help us navigate this unprecedented time together and to co-create solutions in support of the Black community. Hear these stories at weconsiderwa.org.
Kickstart summer with Memorial Day values at Lowe's. Choose 4 or more eligible Samsung appliances to complete your dream kitchen and laundry room. Plus, get 10% back via MasterCard gift card rebate. Also, save now on the latest Samsung appliances, like the bespoke refrigerator with panels in a variety of colors to mix and match. It's an easy way to create your own unique look. Memorial Day values start now at Lowe's. Shop in-store or online today. Offer ends June 13th. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details.